All right, it's show number 100. 100 episodes of JPEG to Raw, and tonight, what's today? December 10th.
December 10th.
Show number 100. So we have 3 guests for tonight. One mystery guest, well, 2 mystery. All of them are mystery guests. First, we have one that is you've never seen before, and then the other 2 you've seen, just maybe not in a while.
You may have heard the first one, but never saw her.
Yes. But I was thinking back, Tim. So we have had some really great guests. That's one of the great things I've loved about the show is all the different people we've got to meet. We've met some amazing photographers, and not just amazing photographers, but amazing people.
Yes, we have.
We've had, and I'm not naming these in any order, and I'm going to probably forget a few, so forgive me. But we've had Rachel Brinke on 4 or 5 times. And I'm sure we'll have her on again. She's just an excellent guest. We've had Seth Castile, the pet photographer that was on Duck Dynasty. We've had Frono's Photo, Jared Pollan. We've had the sports adventure photographer, Michael Clark, on twice. Michael Blinsky.
Couple times.
Scott Wyden-Kivowitz on twice. Scott Green. And then lately we've had Don, I never say his last name, the macro photographer, the guy that takes those incredible macro shots of the snowflakes and stuff. And he will be back. We're going to set something up for him to come back at least once, maybe twice in 2014. Who else have we had? Oh, the Boudoir.
I was just going to say, you can't forget that.
Our number 1 show right now. Imagine that. Damien Lovegrove from England. And Ali, we've had Ali on twice, HDR. So,
yes.
A lot of Ryan Brenizer with the Brenizer Effect, a lot of great people and great photographers, and I'm missing a whole bunch of them. If you have not seen some of those, go out, and they're all on YouTube, they're all on our website, they're all on iTunes. You can get them all from over there. But you know what, Tim? None of that would have been possible if it wasn't for the guests that we're about to have.
That's right.
And that is Jenny Wilson. Hello,
Yay,
Jenny. You can talk now.
Hello, everybody. It was a lot of hype. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of disappointment out there.
Well, Jenny was on show number 1 along with another lady named Kristen. And the original thought with JPEG to Raw was that JPEG was the beginning photographer, and then Raw was the more experienced photographer. And that was sort of symbolized your journey, too, that you started off shooting in JPEG and you eventually went to Raw. And the show was thought that we would do a beginner show. And I couldn't think of anybody better than Kristen and Jenny because they were both
very, very much beginners.
Very beginner. They both got their first DSLRs. They both had, I think you had a young child, Jenny. I don't know if Kristen did yet. She's since had one. But yeah, we're on show number 1, which was audio only. Show number 1, 2, and 3 were audio only. Tim came on the very first video show.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you guys missed out too because we came in costume. Don't go to a bad spot in your head because it was not that type of costume.
Yeah, so just a little bit of reminiscent back on that. Show number 1, audio only, so you didn't get to see this, and there's no video to prove it. But Jenny and Kristen both came dressed up, and Jenny, you were...
I was Garth from Wayne's World.
And Kristen was full camo, even with a machine gun.
Yes, a very scary machine gun.
And horrible audio from both of them.
I think we sounded like a tea kettle is what we heard a lot of.
That was not the most enjoyable one to listen to. But, you guys symbolized the person getting, right into photography, that y'all are wanting to take better, more photos and everything and learn your new cameras.
Exactly.
And so what has Jenny done since show number 1?
Well, since show number 1, photography-wise, I have stayed with the same camera that I had when I started off. I've tried... I have a Canon. What do
Nikon.
I have?
You have a Nikon.
Come
on now. You got to at least get that right.
But I have used Lightroom with your suggestion and tried to do some editing on my own. Not too much success, but I'm definitely trying every day to get a little bit better. And I now have a second child, so I have 2 very wonderful subjects that are no longer still very active. And so I'm learning to kind of adjust to that in terms of the photography. So, and then to be really honest, I rely on my phone a lot for photos.
And you know, a lot of people do that. We're talking in the Facebook group recently about how as you get more and more into taking photos with your DSLR, you almost don't want to take snapshots anymore. All you want to take is you want every shot to have the chance to become an amazing shot that you can hang on the wall.
Exactly.
And the reality is that not every situation requires that. So my way of getting around it is when I really need to take snapshots, I'll put the DSLR down and I pick up the phone and I use the phone, for that kind of stuff. But anyway, you said you're using Lightroom?
Yes,
did I know that?
You suggested that I get it after I went to the beach and had about
That's
700
right.
pictures to go through, and I wanted to edit them. So it's funny, I was just talking to an aunt of mine today who's taking a photography class, and someone had suggested Lightroom to her as well, and so I said maybe we can learn together because I would like the opportunity to use it, and at least I have a good resource in you. We'll maybe get some tutoring from you on that. So.
Of course.
Now, how do you like Lightroom? Do you find it easy to use?
To be honest, the couple of times that I have, I'm still trying to work through it. It definitely sees that there are a lot of different options for settings and stuff like that. So I'm still very, very new to the whole process and just trying to go through it. But it does, it is very easy. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of difficult parts to it, but it also is a little intimidating because it does seem like there's a lot more that I don't know about it that I kind of need to be handheld through stuff. To be quite honest.
But
so.
you symbolize what I really wanted to do with the show originally, and as something that I will eventually get back to. We'll have to start another show. It won't be this show. Is the beginning photographer, somebody who's not interested in becoming a pro, somebody who's not looking to, get photos that they can sell, maybe even as an advanced amateur, but somebody who just wants to take better pictures than what they currently are. And it could be just of your kids, it could be of vacations, it could be of whatever. There's a lot of people like that aren't looking to take amazing photos, but looking to take better photos. And, for them, there's a lot of things that are confusing. Things, like, aperture and f-stops and white balance and ISO and probably just about everything in Lightroom. So, what I need to find is the right person who is looking to improve that can come on a show every week. I know that's not you. And then a co-host who wants to help me out with that. So, no timetable on when we would do that, but we will at some point start another show doing that.
Well, I think that'd be great.
Jenny, I know you have limited time you can be with us because your kids are probably being.
I can hear them screaming downstairs.
They're probably being held down by your father with threatening their life not to yell.
They have popcorn.
Oh, they have popcorn. So as soon as that runs out,
as soon as that's gone, we're in trouble.
It's a short-term fix.
It is.
As soon as it runs out, they're in trouble. So one other thing. So as we were talking, the first show, for whatever reason, got 18 people for the first show, Tim.
Wow.
So we're talking in the show, and people were asking questions, and I was feeding them into in there. And sometimes my speech is not always clear. And I said, "Hey, Chad has a question," and I would bring in the question. And Jenny finally said, "What'd you say, Jenny?"
I said, "Who is Chad? I can't see Chad. Who is Chad?" Because I didn't understand that there was a chat room, and we were referring to it as chat, not Chad with a D. But I was so confused. I knew Kristen and I knew Mike, and I was so confused about who this Chad guy was. I really wanted to meet him.
Yeah, she wanted to talk to Chad.
Hey, Chad. Who's Chad? Where's Chad?
Yeah, exactly. Chad, come in, Chad.
Mystery guest number 2, not yet.
But I also had a headset for the first episode that I could not actually plug into my computer. It was for a gaming console. So Mike yelled at me.
Xbox 360. Yeah.
He yelled at me that I needed a headset, so I found a headset, and I came back. He said, "Oh, that's perfect, good." And I started talking. He goes, "Well, I can't hear you any better." I said, "Well, I mean, it's not plugged into anything. You just told me to get a headset." So there you go. Wow. Professional podcast 101.
Hey,
don't worry, when Mike invited me on, I was like, I got to go get myself a camera, and I got to go get a headset. I had to get everything as well. Don't feel bad.
So And the third mystery guest is texting me now saying, "Hey, when am I coming? When am I coming?" So, just hold on, mystery guest number 3. I see Scott Green out there. I see Jeff. I see Tim Foster, Nikki, Jeannie, Danielle, Kaylee, Rennie, a bunch of people out there. I don't see all the names right now, but a lot of people out there in chat. Thank you for coming, and Jenny, thank you for coming.
No problem.
Actually, I work with Jenny, so I'll see you tomorrow.
I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow. Thank you, Jenny.
Well, thank
Nice
you.
meeting you, Jenny. Good
It was
night.
nice meeting you as well. Thank you.
All right, mystery guest number 2 is, why is that not working? Sess, who doesn't have a lower third set up.
I don't have a what?
You don't have a lower third set up.
I
Yeah, we don't know who you are.
I should do that. I should go ahead and do that. Let me make that happen. I'm typing.
He
with
added
one
the
hand.
lower thirds to his face, though.
He did. So and Sess, if you'll hang out with us for a second, we want to do a quick catch up with you, and then we need to head right into the photos for the November contest. If you will help us out with that and give us some feedback
Yeah, no
on that.
problem at all.
So hopefully, where's the blonde? Scott Green's asking. I don't know, but what blonde you're talking about? Tim?
Yeah,
Maybe
my hair got a little darker.
maybe talk about Tim, because definitely not Sess and I.
No,
All right,
no.
Seth, so while you're doing that, could you just maybe a 1 minute on how you're doing? Because anybody who's in our Facebook group knew that Seth had a little bit of, he was actually editing photos. Weren't you editing photos?
Well, no, actually,
And
I
this
was,
is
I
what
was in
happens
the
if you
middle-
use a Mac, by the way. Go ahead.
Not at all. Actually, I was in the middle of a follow-up session. I was over at client's house, and I woke up in the hospital. But basically, this is how I hear
Wow.
it. I was at the client's house. We were reviewing photos to include in a package. They were just seeing what they wanted for prints, and they said, "Hey, are you feeling okay?" I was like, "Why? Do I not look okay?" And then that's the last thing that I actually remember saying before I woke up in the hospital. But what I hear happened is, they called my wife. They said, "Hey, your husband is having a seizure. Is that normal?" And then my wife freaked. I mean, obviously she freaked out, and she's like, "No, not at all." She's like, "What the heck?" And so I mean, it was probably a good thing that I had the car that had the car seats in it, or else she would have gone flying to where I was at the client's house with the kids, and I don't know how her stability would have been at that time, but anyway, so I had that, and then I get to the hospital. They start treating me for the seizure and stuff. They do a MRI automatically. They said, "Hey, you got a couple tumors in your head. You want us to take those out now or later?" I'm like, "Now, please."
Do I need them? No. Then take them.
And
So
so
I'm like, let's just go ahead and work that out. So let's just go. So they did that. I got a gnarly scar. It looks like I was in a bar fight. At least that's what I'm gonna tell everybody. And and that was pretty much it. Now I'm in a shoulder. Well, I'm in a sling. I'm not all the way in the sling because I was trying to type, but I guess I should type with my left. But yeah, I during the course of the seizure, I dislocated my shoulder, and it was feeling pretty good. I actually re-dislocated it last Saturday, so a week from a few days ago. And that hurt so bad because at least I was unconscious for the first
one, right?
Seizure. But for that one, oh my goodness, I've never felt such pain, and it was still healing.
on the tumors, they came back benign, right?
Benign.
And they successfully removed them and everything. You got a good scar. But so the prognosis is good.
Yeah, they and with pathology and everything, they ran the pathology and they said that everything looks good. It doesn't look like there's anything else in your body at all.
Excellent.
So I'm super happy. First of all, I obviously with the brain tumor, I'm really happy that there's nothing else left of that.
Yeah.
But as far as the brain surgery, I know that not everyone makes it through. There's always complications
Absolutely.
that can happen. So
Because they
I'm
had to
totally
actually go
grateful.
in. I don't want to get too graphic here, but they had to actually go into the skull, right?
Yeah, they were literally in my brain. They went through the bone, all that good stuff. It was brain surgery. Yeah.
Well, we're so glad. You have helped out. You've been on the show a number of times, and now I feel that we're even more connected because of what I had happen to me during the summer.
Yeah.
And
Well, the NSA put something in our head, like both of us.
yeah.
Whenever they open up someone's skull, I think the NSA, they put things in your head. So
I was fairly convinced that yours was because you use a Mac. You use a Mac, but I don't know what that would happen to mine. But
Isn't it also Canon?
it could be. But now that you're here, I like your help in doing the November. We have 3 before we bring in the third mystery guest, and you're welcome to stay when the third mystery guest comes too, Seth.
Okay.
We have the 3 photos from November. That every month we have a contest in the JPEG to Raw Facebook group. We have the 3 photos that were the finalists, and then the admins vote on it. And we're going to show those 3 and announce the winner tonight. Before I do that, the December contest. First, you have to be in the Facebook group to vote or to enter, and or to enter. The December one, just like last year, no theme, any photo you want. Your best photo of 2013. Your best, just one photo. Best photo 2013. The winner will get a $100 Amazon.com gift card. So now normal is $25. In this case, you'll get a $100 one. The runner-up, the second place one, will get a $50 one. And then third place will get a $25. And then plus we have the SEO cookbook from Zach Perez, and that will go to the first place winner also. If I can get anything else for us, we'll divvy those up too. But that's what we have so far right now. So $100, and that's all because of everybody using the Amazon link, the JPEG Raw Amazon link, which is really easy. jpegrawraw.com/Amazon. Every time you go there, if you're buying boxers, briefs, or actual camera gear, it doesn't matter. Any of those things, but you got to use it every time you go. And we want you to buy as much as you can from there, because I know somebody who works for UPS, and we need to make sure they're busy.
keep them busy.
Yep.
Keep them busy.
Okay, so let's look at the first photo up. The first photo up is from Courtney Wilson. And the topic for November was vintage.
Yeah.
So the first up is Courtney Wilson. And this one, when we go around the table, Tim, what were your thoughts on this one?
I actually liked the picture. I liked the fact that it really had the vintage type camera in there. It was a strong contender on mine. It wasn't the winning photo, but it was everything about the photo to me was also vintage. Whether it be the camera, the colors, it was just the mood set, I guess, is the best way to put it. That's how I had it in my mind.
I liked it too. It looked vintage to me. The editing was nicely done. It wasn't overdone. Nicely done. The vintage camera, and I like the fact that you didn't see the full body, actually, where it cut off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Seth, any comments on this one, or are you ready for me to go to the next one?
Yeah. I really liked this one. Pretty much the same comments. I mean, I think it's simple. It's nice. It does have a vintage feel to it. I mean, just because of the subject, the camera there. I think it's a cool, clean photo. I like the edit, and I like the capture. So yeah.
Okay. Next up is somebody who is almost a finalist every month now. I remember when she started, and she would admit this, that she had a ways to go, and now she's almost a finalist every month in this, and she's even won at least once, I believe. I know she's won once, but maybe more than once. And that's Jeannie Kessler, and hopefully I'm not messing your name up again, Jeannie, with the Horseman. And definitely, this one has a vintage feel to it. Also, and for me, it's a little bit over edited. That would be the only critique I have of this one. I feel like it was a little too much on the over edit, but it definitely had a vintage feel to it.
Right, I agree. I think the actual, like, almost the processing of it made it look old, like an old vintage picture that you would have found like in a drawer in your attic from 50 years ago.
And plus,
that
the
was
Horseman,
the feel it got to me.
The Horseman has that vintage feel too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same comments with the edit. I mean, I'm all for post processing, but I feel like it at some point became maybe a little distracting. But I mean, it is a cool shot. I don't want to take away from that. It's a cool shot. It's a nice final thing. So I'm glad she's in the runnings here.
Yep. And then our last entry is a person who won, I think, our very first 2 giveaways, Tim. The first 2
Yes,
things we
yes.
gave away. And I started...
And
I
then
said-
disappeared because she was afraid she was going to win again.
I've said this multiple times, so hopefully Melissa's not getting tired of me hearing it. Melissa Sanchez, is that, when she won the first 2, I think she felt a little guilty, like, oh crap, I don't want to win every one of them. But odds of you winning every one of them are very little, and if we're doing it truly random and you win, then you win. I'm not going to stop somebody from winning just because they've won before. So I'm glad to see her entering again and still active. She's been with us for a long time. This image, I loved a lot of things about this image. The placement of the girl to the right, a little bit of a thirds going on there. The framing, how she's got, I don't know how well you can see it in what I've got pulled up here, but you can see it a little bit. The corners, how the corners are edged like an old frame. The girl is dressed like maybe something from the 70s or so, or 60s. And then I think that's a old vintage Camry she has there.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what kind of camera it was, but I think it was the colors of the picture, the corners. It looks like an old print. I really love this one. This was, in my mind, was a winner.
And I think that the editing was just right. It wasn't overdone or underdone. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I even like the finishing with the rounded edges.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was great. The color, the toning, the dress and the camera, it just all works together really nicely for a good, cohesive final product. So I'm really happy with this one. I like that one a lot.
Yep. And therefore, our winner this month is Melissa Sanchez.
Yay!
Congratulations, Melissa. You've won again.
Again.
Don't let that keep you from entering in the future either. That's if you win, you win. Congratulations, Melissa. That's an excellent photo. I'll be putting a link in the Facebook group for you to contact me and for me to contact you with the Amazon.com gift card that you win, because every winner every month gets the $25, except for December where you get extra. All right. Let me get us set up for the next shot. There we go. All right. So we got a little bit of time to kill right now before we bring in the next mystery guest. So, Cess, are you back up to shooting and everything? While we're talking, you guys keep talking. I need to invite the other person.
No, it's complicated. Not really. I mean, technically, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But let me see. When is this actually going to get out there on Stitcher and stuff? No, I'm not really shooting. The funny thing is, before I dislocated again, I actually was shooting because I was feeling really confident with my shoulder. But the way that I popped it out was by just by closing the car door. So we actually get a bunch of shots. I was showing my mom night photography. We were doing some stuff, and so we were done. We were about to leave, and I popped it out, closing the car door. So at this point, I'm actually babying the heck out of my shoulder because I do have some things coming up that I really need to not miss. So I'm trying to make sure that I heal as well as possible before really doing anything.
Can I assume you're a righty also?
I am a righty. How inconvenient, right?
Oh,
it's horrible.
Never realized how much you need that hand.
So that's great to hear. I hope you're healing better. You're a young guy, so hopefully you'll heal quickly. And
you don't see these grays here? You can't.
Young compared to me.
It's in there.
Young compared to me.
Okay.
And so as our next guest, you're probably muted. Next guest, don't talk quite yet when you come in. If you can hear me, hopefully that person can hear me. I have have something funny going on that's happening right now in my house. This next guest, one of the funniest moments with her, for us at least, was.
Now they know it's a her.
Yeah, so you know it's a her. She was chatting with us when all of a sudden behind her we saw this little furry thing go whoop. And we saw it, and then all of a sudden the person jumped up on their table, and we were wondering what is going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, gone. And then I get a couple of texts that say, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be back. Well, mystery guest that we're about to reveal, I have that going on right over my head right now. I can hear it walking around. There was something right over my head, and I have a drop ceiling right here, and I'm waiting for it to figure out I can chew through this really fast. And so if I jump up because something has landed on my head, y'all just keep going. So our next mystery guest, someone we have not seen in a long time, someone who, when I was searching for photographers in Swanee, which is where I live, I came across, that's good. And then I came across her webpage and thought, oh my God, this stuff is just amazing. And this was out of character for me. I reached out to her and said, I just want to let you know your stuff is amazing. And ever since then, we've been internet friends. We never met in person.
Still
We've been
haven't,
internet
huh?
friends, yes. And
Did you have a photo crush? I'm just kidding.
I have a crush on her work. Yes, she's very good, and that's Kathleen. Kathleen, welcome back.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Sound perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to figure out this lower thirds thing. I might get myself confused if I try too hard, so.
That's okay.
I've never been on with Kathleen. It's
I
like, wow,
know.
it's good to see you virtually.
It's so good to see you too virtually.
So,
So,
Kathleen,
I should wave.
Hey, Tim.
Hello, how are you? How's the new
Good.
baby?
Oh, my word. He's so just awesome. He's easy, thank God, because if I had a third hard one, I think I'd lose my mind. But
Oh,
he's
my
just
goodness.
real laid back and
Oh, I was
It's a lot
checking
of
out
fun.
my daughter Avery. She is. My wife said if she was our first, it would have been our last.
yeah. I've heard people say that before too. That's awesome.
Wow.
yeah, and Kathleen was co-host of the show for I don't know how many. I should have figured this stuff out before the show, but for a long time, I co-hosted the show, and always welcome to come back. But as we just talked about, you had your third baby.
Yeah.
And they're all fairly young. Well, your oldest is probably kindergarten, first grade, something like that.
He started kindergarten this year, so I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and then a 3-month-old.
God
And-
bless you.
Yeah, Weston, Whitaker, and then baby Winslow. So all 3 boys.
Wow.
So
So you like the W's?
It wasn't necessarily the plan, but it kind of worked out that way, and we like it.
Yeah.
and,
Not necessarily the plan. I hear you on that one.
Yeah. It's like after we had 2 W's, we felt like we were leaving the third one out if we didn't figure out a third
Yeah, really.
W name. Mhm.
Mom, Dad,
Wouldn't have
why
been
didn't
right.
you name me with a W?
I know. Just had to do it.
So, doing a podcast every week is, being consistent like that, and having 3 young ones where consistency is a struggle. We knew Kathleen was going to take at least a little bit of a break. Who knows? She may come back, and I think we're talking about you coming back maybe in January as a guest, not necessarily as a host.
Right.
And you can always come back as a host whenever you want, but we understand that you have a lot of demands right now, and that's part of what we're going to talk about when you come back is some of those demands. But for tonight,
Yeah.
you have sent me 41 just amazing photos that are
Thank
some of
you.
your more recent work, and what it is, this is even better than the work that made me fall in love with your work to begin with. This is even better than that.
Awesome.
And something I wanted to do, she has a great video. We'll put the link in the show notes. A great video on her website that is your promotional video.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked about your site was the music. I remember when you first came on, you actually took the music off. And I was like, where's the music? I love the music. Well, I wanted to play the video tonight, but it has music in it. And if you've watched the show, I got banned from YouTube for 2 weeks for playing music.
Can't have that.
No.
Nope.
And my next ban, Tim, is 6 months. So,
Ooh.
so
Oh,
I don't-
wow. That's a long probation.
Yes, so I am really trying to avoid getting banned again. So
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to play it, but we'll put it in the show notes and a link to it so you can go see it, because you really need to see that with the music. If I played it without the music, it wouldn't have the same feel to it.
Right.
But I'm going to start streaming some of the photos as we talk right
Well,
now.
can I make a comment about my video of
Absolutely.
something that
Go
I
ahead.
learned? Because everything's a learning process. So now that I've made a about me video once, like I'll do it differently the second time I do it. And I love my video, I do. But the first go around, your videographer is going to charge you by the hour, and so I would invite him to my scheduled photo shoots to come and capture video. Well, one time I invited him to one of my newborn sessions, and the baby screamed for the first 3 hours. I am not kidding you. And so I paid him
Wow.
for the time that he was there. And so hindsight, if I do it again, and this is my tip, is that you just set up a day where you are capturing video only, and that's what we ended up doing on the end. Is I asked some models to come in, and I pretended like I was photographing them, but my focus was not on photographing them. My focus was on capturing video of me photographing. And so it went by much quicker. We got the footage that we needed. I saved a lot of money. And so hindsight, don't invite them to your real photo shoots. Get some models, bring them in, set it up, and do it that way. You'll save yourself a bundle.
Excellent point, because that's what they do in movies. None of it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the end result conveys what you wanted to convey, but it doesn't have to. Yeah, doing a real photo shoot would have been very difficult.
Yeah, that was crazy talk right there.
That's a great tip.
So one of the, as I looked at the photos, and we're streaming them now, and I can stop on any one that we want to talk about, but I'd love to have you come back and walk us through the edit of a few of these, because the editing is something I've always loved of your shots too. How crisp and they're both good and sharp, and have a smooth or what do you call it, a dreamy feel to some of them.
Awesome.
Your editing is just fantastic.
Awesome.
So I would love for you to, we can do another one. I know the Lightroom one you did, everybody loved that one. But maybe we can take a couple images one time and you just walk us through from the beginning to the end of the editing.
I'd love
of those,
to.
if you don't mind sharing any secrets.
No, I'd love to. And I feel like for all photographers, finding your editing style is a huge deal. And it's so funny because I constantly feel like I will find something new that I like, and I'll try it for a few pictures, and then I always kind of veer back to what my safe zone is. And for me, I look at it like, it's safe. Come on, push yourself, Kathleen. But then other people are like, no, like you said, it's that crisp, clear, clean, dreamy effect. I'm just like, all right, well, I guess if it's mine, I guess it works.
Now, the last time we talked, you were moving more toward Lightroom and actually using Lightroom quite a bit more than the Photoshop, if I remember right. Is that still the case?
It's about 50-50 right now.
Okay.
I love Lightroom, but still the tools that they have to remove like blemishes and stuff is still nowhere near what you can do in Photoshop. And when you're doing newborns, keeping their skin intact is extremely important. You don't want them looking like plastic. You don't want to be able to see where you cloned something out. And then also, my studio's kind of in limbo right now, and so I'm having to do a lot of background stretches, which you just simply can't do in Lightroom. You have to open it up in Photoshop to do stuff like that.
And the whole background stretch is something I would like to go over when you do the how to edit a few of those. You did You did it once before, I believe, and maybe in Lightroom or somewhere. In one of the shows, I think you showed us that. But I think I'd love to see that again.
Well, and it's better now, and it's easier now because of the upgrades that Photoshop has added. That free transform tool is just amazing, and the way that it stretches, it looks right almost the first time you stretch it without having to do a lot of stuff afterwards. Which before was a lot more work.
Now, which Photoshop are you talking? Which Photoshop are you talking?
I'm on the Creative Cloud right now, so I guess whatever the newest one is.
Yeah.
Is it 5?
No,
what is it?
It's technically
Creative.
7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Creative Cloud.
They just call it Creative Cloud. Yeah.
I'm on Creative Cloud, yeah.
And I think I'm on CS6. I have not upgraded to the Creative Cloud one yet. I have Creative Cloud. I haven't upgraded to it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not on cloud yet. I'm gonna do that though.
I got that $9.99 a month deal.
Oh, so you went with the Photoshop Lightroom $9.99.
That's what I got
that's what I got as well.
A lot of folks are doing that, and it is worth it. I mean, it's a good deal. They're finally listening to the photographers, and I heard a great interview about it, and I'm happy with the direction that they're going. But it doesn't matter if I'm happy because they're still going in that direction anyway.
Yeah, so everybody wants a continual payment, a monthly. They want a subscription.
You got to do it. They've kind of screwed us in a way with not being able to offer the upgrades at a price where you can just buy it right out. But I didn't really necessarily need everything that Adobe is offering. So when they had this deal with just the Photoshop and Lightroom, I was like, yep, that's what this girl needs, and just went for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and it works for different people. I mean, I actually do need a lot of the other stuff because I do video and multimedia stuff as well. Yeah. But still, I mean, it's a fantastic deal. So yeah.
Yep. All right. So you had the baby. You probably you had to take some time off, right?
Yes.
But is this work since baby born that we're watching now? Most
of the stuff is, yes. And I took off. I think I think like a solid 2 months. But of course, in there, I had some of my girlfriends having babies as well. Like one of my girlfriends had a baby 2 weeks after me, and she was at my house when I had a 2-week-old. And I said, we will take pictures until Winslow cries, and then we are done.
Wow.
And we did, and we had a blast, and we got some beautiful images for her. But yeah, it's always hard because like when new babies come, I want to shoot them even if I'm on maternity leave, but I had to back off. And then of course, you know, with pictures of Winslow himself, thank goodness I had someone help me out with those, because right after you have a baby, you know, newborn photography, we all joke that we wear our stretchy pants because it's a complete workout, and it really is. And so right after you've just had a baby, you can't be doing up and down and bending over and shushing a baby and posing, and it's really difficult. And so, of course I did it anyway because I'm a newborn photographer, and to have like a little like model at my house every day, all day, was impossible for me not to do it. And Winslow's, you know, having him was the easiest delivery I've had. So that being said, I got to do a lot by myself, but I also had a really great photographer come play with me often. And then the pictures of me and Winslow together, she took all of those and she did a beautiful job. And her name is Jennifer Deming. You guys should go check her out. It's you spell her last name with one M, Deming, and she's local to us as well, Mike.
Okay. Oh, good. And so, as a newborn photographer, you know, even though you were taking a couple months off, you had built-in models that you can be building, you know, shots for your portfolio or for, you know, for your website, whatever you need to, or just personal shots.
Right.
I keep looking up because I keep hearing something. So
it's going to drop down, I'm telling you, and then you're going to be jumping on
I am
your
going to
desk
laugh.
and screaming, because that's exactly what happened to me, and it freaked me out.
Hopefully, there's no, if there's any, whatever that thing is, if there's any that lovers up there, I have to mute and cut off the video so you don't see, because my pellet gun's right over there.
Oh no!
And only one of us is leaving this room.
Watch out! You got quite a bit of electronics you could shoot with that gun too, as you're aiming for it.
So, okay, but are you now back to taking clients on?
Yes, and so I took off. You know, I had him the end of August, so I had off all of September and all of October. And normally, October and November are two of my busiest months of the entire year. And I don't take on Christmas clients per se anymore, but still it's busier because my regular clients come back and they want Christmas pictures. And so the pressure of that, didn't do anything in October, so I had it all crammed into November and then the beginning of this month as well.
Oh, wow.
So it's been crazy. It's been fun, but it's been crazy, and I'll be happy when January rolls around and it's going to slow down a little bit. Yeah.
I think Jennifer Denning is out there in chat right now.
She is. She's Jen Deming right there.
Oh yeah. Hey.
So she was laughing at your comment, not the comment of I hear things above my head.
Right.
Well, you know, something else I've noticed recently in your style, and I'm going to flip over to it now. And Kathleen, you should be able to see. Yeah, and one of the images that I'm transmitting for us internally in the Hangout is what I'm streaming out there, because there's like
gotcha.
There's like
so
a 30.
I can see what.
Yeah, there's like a 35 to 40 second or more delay from what they see out in chat, and
Awesome.
that would never work for you seeing what I'm talking about. But
Right.
you get to see it the instant I do it, so you can see the image I have pulled up now. And
Yes.
one of the things I've seen recently is some of your work. And
Are you talking about the one behind you on the screen, or the one down in my in my thirds?
the one down
Down
below?
on the thirds.
Okay, I
in the
got
third,
you. The
yeah.
little boy in the bucket.
Yeah,
Correct.
that behind
Okay,
me.
gotcha.
Behind me is your photos on a slideshow.
Okay, I gotcha.
The little boy in a bucket. So I see that you're doing more, and I imagine this was back when it was warmer. Some of
Yeah.
these water shots, which are just fantastic. I don't know where you're going. I need to follow you around at a distance because we can't meet.
Because
Follow-
we can't meet.
Follow you
At
around.
a distance. Wow, that's not creepy at all, Mike. At all.
I know,
Really.
and her husband's a police officer, but
With the camera, nonetheless. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm just wanting to I'm just wanting to GPS all our locations because they just
Yeah, nothing like tracking a woman. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
This
it's
picture
You're
perfect.
going downhill fast, Mike.
Facebook does it.
This picture is at Lake Lanier,
Uh-huh.
and it would be impossible for me to tell you where it is because it was literally one of those days where I was actually this is the second time I'd used this location, but the first time I used this location, it was a girlfriend of mine. We were doing her maternity pictures, and I was like, let's just drive and see what we see. And literally, like, where I'm standing to photograph this baby, maybe 10 feet behind me is a parking lot. So it is not part of, like, the pretty part of the park where you would go and hang out for the day. If you literally park your car and there was a bunch of trees there and no one would even go and look. And I saw between the trees how the water was really shallow. In fact, when the dam is released, this is what it looks like.
Okay.
But before it's released, it's just kind of all muddy and soggy. So you got to hit it at the right time because there's not always water there.
Okay.
Your
And-
pictures make me want to move down there and
I'm
not follow
telling
you with a
you.
camera, but
Right.
it does make me want to move down there sometimes.
Georgia is gorgeous to photograph. I'm telling
Really?
you. And I feel like everything's fairly close. We've gotten some really cool spots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, of course, looking at this right now, would it be in 30 degrees outside?
Right.
Oh, that looked cold.
Yeah.
But you took this, I imagine, when it was still warm out.
Yes. Yes.
And just so that people know, is this a composite shot?
No, but Mom was probably, see how it's like crop, it's a thirds?
Yeah.
Mom was standing right there to the, I guess, the right of the shot.
Okay.
Safety.
But no, baby's in the bucket, and the bucket's dug into the water. Like, we've got it, like, anchored. There's some rocks inside the bucket, like, with the baby
Okay.
to weight it down. And then also we've kind of got it jammed in between rocks around the outside, and then Mom is right there.
Yeah.
You've said before, and I think it's worth repeating, that with babies, that safety is really paramount. You know,
Yeah.
that it's really important. And so,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm glad that she said that before, and I just thought it was worth saying again.
It really is. Now, can I critique my own work here?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I'm about to rip this picture to shreds.
Wow.
Oh no!
Let's hear that.
So you see how the horizon goes right through the baby's head?
Yep.
That's called death by horizon, and it's actually a big photography no-no.
Yeah.
And it's something that I personally struggle with all the time. And I know, like, it's one of those things that the picture is gorgeous, and so who cares, right? But if I'm being picky, this is something that I really struggle with. Technically, the horizon line is supposed to either go above the baby's head or below his shoulders. And luckily with this shot, the horizon line is blurred enough where it wasn't
Yeah,
quite
the
as
shallow depth of
obvious.
focus, it kind of takes it out of that. So
It
you have to
does.
really be kind of picky to
Yeah.
You really
But
have
if
to
you
you have to
touch it-
look for it also.
You do, but it's something that I see in my photos all the time because I think with babies and the heights that they are, they kind of end up right there at that stinking horizon line a lot. And so if you're a real pro, this is something that you try and avoid. And I see it in my stuff all the time, and I want to slap myself on the hand. I still love the picture, and obviously my clients would never care. But this shows for learning, so I thought I'd throw it out there.
You know, that's a great point, because I think most of us would look at this, a lot of people would look at this. I'm sure some of our guests, I think Scott Green's out there and some of the other people, Jeff, they might have noticed that too, but I think a lot of people would not. But that is a key thing, to always look at your work, no matter how good you think it is, and see, what did I do wrong so you can improve. So I think
Yeah.
no matter how good you are, Scott, Jeff, Terry, Daniel, Kaylee, Jeannie, everybody out there in chat, no matter how good you are, you're never finished learning. You can always improve.
Never.
So
Absolutely.
you're right. I'm sure your client absolutely loved this shot, but there's always things you can do to improve and get better.
Yeah.
There's another shot I wanted to pull up.
A photographer that feels like they can't learn anything else is probably done, or just a really big jerk.
Then you really are done learning. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're either so arrogant, or you're just done, and you're just not going to progress. I don't know.
Right. I'm with you.
You have a couple here where there's the father and the baby, and I love these. And
I love 'em.
because it shows the softer side of a guy, with their child. And I'm sure this one has a little bit extra meaning to you because
It sure does. This is my baby Winslow and my husband Josh. And of course, okay, so I have to put this out there for all the photographers who try to get their own family in pictures. My husband is the most awful person in the entire world to try to get to pose for a photograph.
Why?
He pitches a fit worse than any child I've ever photographed every single time. And God bless him. I love him because he saves lives and he provides for our family, and I'll never get rid of him or trade him in for anybody. But for goodness sakes, as soon as I try and get him in front of my camera, like, it might be the end of things. You know how people say that, like, money issues are like the number one reason for divorce. No, not in our family.
It's the camera?
Because it's the camera. As soon as I pull it out, he turns into like a 3-year-old.
No.
But this is extra special to me because he didn't give me a hard time this day. I was like, literally, Josh, I just need you for 2 minutes. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do with Winslow. I had everything set up before I got him in there. So there's the key, is to make sure that you're set up. And this is really photographing any dads, even when they're your clients, because it's always the dads who turn into babies as soon as the camera comes out. Yeah. It's kind of like you're talking on the phone to the mom. The mom's like, oh, my goodness, I hope my kids behave. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, I hope your husband behaves, because that's exactly how it goes, is that they're the ones that don't want to be there. They're the ones that think it's too cold or too hot, or
it's the insecurities,
can we hurry up and get this on? Oh, my word. So anyways, make sure that you have everything set up and ready to go before you bring dad into the picture. And so that's what we did. I had everything set up, ready to go, white balance set, exposure set, knew exactly how I wanted to pose and everything, brought him in, put Winslow in his hands, snap, 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 and then I said, okay, we're done. And then he looked at me and he's like, really? And I said, really, you can go.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, go us dads. Yes.
Along with that, it starts even before their dads. Because yesterday, Kathleen, my son is a high school swimmer in a senior year, and I went and did the team photos for the seniors. Just the seniors.
Right.
So first up, we did girls only. So say girls that were in this one place where there were 2 columns, and I wanted them all in between the columns. And I said, all right, girls, get in between the columns and give me a pose. They were there, I'd say within 30 seconds, they had a great pose. They were in between the columns. There wasn't hardly anything I wanted to do to the pose. It was like, that's great. Okay. And, took a few shots. And they said, how about this? Oh, that's awesome too. So, we did a few things like that. And I said, all right, now guys. And I have to tell them again, between the columns. Don't go anywhere between the columns. There's 3 dudes past the column over here. There's 2 dudes past. I said, no, everybody in between the columns. It was, I felt like I was teaching cats to swim in a straight line.
Man space. You gotta have there's a bubble. So, it's like the Force, you know?
You know what brought them in together and got them all organized into the shot?
Had to be the girls.
Yes, the senior girls took control and said, boys, listen. And,
get in gear.
Oh, no.
And it went over there. They went over there and they physically put them into the spot where they needed to be. Hey, that's great. Yeah. And we started shooting. So, it's not just the dads. It starts younger than that.
Just guys in general, just men. We think differently.
Yeah. Unless you're the photographer creative one, I think that most men try and avoid it like the plague.
Hey, Kathleen, I had a quick question for you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How often do you utilize an assistant? Like, I wanted to ask you that before.
When I was pregnant, especially towards the end of my pregnancy, I used Jennifer Deming as often as I possibly could. Yeah. And she and I have a really good deal. It's like if I call her and say, hey, I have a cool shoot coming up, do you want to come play? Then she knows she's not getting paid. If I call her and I say, I have 7-week-old twins and I am 9 months pregnant, can you please come help me? Then she knows I will pay her.
Okay, I gotcha.
And towards the end of my pregnancy, man, I needed her because I was just done. I don't have luxurious, comfortable pregnancies. I feel like I turn into a big fat whiny brat baby when I'm pregnant. No. And so I really needed her, and she was like really great because we worked really well together. But on a normal basis, I don't. We say all the time how great it would be to work together all the time, but to share a business, neither of us kind of understand how that would work for our families and the financial part of it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
go ahead, Sess.
Oh no! I was gonna say, I have a guy, but I don't have an official assistant.
Uh-huh.
I have a guy that I'm like, hey, I got this thing. I might need a little bit of help. Let's swing through. He's not like in on the business side at all, but we just kind of share some things, and I help. Dang it, he's borrowing my light stands right now. Anyways, and I helped him on some things. It just hit me. Dang it.
Well, I think that the thing you got to be careful about is when you go into business with a friend or family, is that you may not come out of the business friends or family. So
Yes.
if you're hiring somebody to be your assistant, that's one thing. If you're like going into business, you're going to share resources and share revenue and share expenses. That gets very, very tricky. To at first it may be great,
Real
Yeah.
fast.
but it gets so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to stay friends with somebody, be careful about that.
I have another. Yeah, and I have another friend that has a studio nearby. I mean, down the street, and he's doing great. He wanted to merge before, and first of all, I was really honored that he even said that. But I'm like, I have too many things floating around for someone else to depend on me. I mean, I'm part time at my church. I'm running my business, and then
Right.
now I got two kids running around. Well, one's
Right.
running around, the other one's just kind of pooping in her little. She's she's 3 months old, but still that and I'm Air National Guard, so once a month I'm like I can't juggle that many things
Right.
and then have another person depend on me. So I mean, really appreciate it, but it would be a lot more harm than help for either of us.
Yeah, that's kind of where we decided to, like, any time away from our family, I want to get paid full price,
Yeah.
is basically how I look for it. And
Yeah.
if I were to share my business, that means I'd be cutting everything in half, and I can't afford to do that. But we sure do have fun when we get to shoot together, and
Yeah.
we do a lot of the I got a fun shoot coming up, do you want to come play kind of things, and so that works
That's
out good.
cool.
Yeah, well, it helps to have a somebody you can bounce stuff off of, and
Right.
maybe go and like view each other and learn from each other. That's great.
Yeah.
I think that could be a very healthy relationship. And
Yeah.
speaking of you getting back into it, I think if I remember right, you were limiting the number of clients to like 4 or 6 or something like that a month. Are you back
Yeah.
up to that level, or are you still edging into it?
Well, of course, and November and December, I blew away my limit because that's what happens every year. And my limit was 4, but now that I have 3 kids, I think I'm going to go down and do just 2 or 3 a month. I just, my kids are only little once, and I'm never going to get that time back with them ever. Like I can't hit the rewind button, and I wish I knew where it was because I'd do it in a heartbeat. But I'm not going to get that time back with them, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's my number one thing. And I know that a lot of people in the industry say that if you put out there that you're a stay-at-home mom and then you're trying to do a business, it looks unprofessional. I'm like, unprofessional or not, that's the truth. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I extend my clients grace, and so they extend me grace. And because I've been able to put limits on how much work I do, they don't have to extend grace to me often because I try very hard not to overbook myself. When I'm reaching my limits and I'm about to blow, I feel it. And so that's when I know I got to scale back and do something different. But I love what I do, and I want to keep it that way. And so if I completely overwhelm myself and tick my husband off because I'm always glued to my computer and never spend any time with my kids, that's what I'm going to regret. I'm not going to regret passing a photo shoot on to somebody else.
Right. And which one is that? That's the youngest, the baby, right?
Oh, you can, yeah. You
Oh, is
can
that
hear
yours?
that?
I'm sorry, that's yours.
So
sis.
that's mine. Yeah, that's Kaylee, our daughter. I think she's probably getting changed right now.
Okay.
Sorry about
So,
that. I closed the door.
That's okay. Kathleen, so all your time on the show, and I'm hoping you're going to answer the way I want you to answer, but maybe there's multiple good answers here. All your
Okay.
time on the show, what would be the biggest thing you took away from it, or the biggest thing that has helped you in life or in photography or business or whatever it is?
Being part of the JPEG Dura show.
Yeah.
I think the whole idea of continuing education is just really important, and that's what the show stresses. I think if I were to go back and look at my first interview when I was on as a guest the first time, I think I'd probably be embarrassed with 100% of the stuff that I said. I feel like I've just learned a lot. I think I remember saying something about I always shoot wide open, which to me sounds just ridiculous because there are times when it calls for it and times when it doesn't, and I've grown to know that, something I didn't know when I first started. So there's other things, of course, too, but I think that's what it is, just knowing that you're never like on a plateau. Hopefully you're always moving upwards,
Yeah. Well, that wasn't what I was searching for, but that's even better. But speaking of the shooting the wide open, I think when you think about that, I wonder if people go to shoot wide open and they go, "Why is everything? I don't get everything in focus." Like
Right.
when I was taking, I think we had 15 seniors that I was doing yesterday, and if I was shooting at f2.8, which was what the lens I was using limit was, I'd have had the one either the back row, the front row, something like that, out of focus. So I think I was shooting at somewhere between 5.6 and f8 to make sure that I had that depth of field there. But what I was searching for is something that just happened to you Sunday.
Sunday. Oh,
Sunday.
hello.
Sunday.
Yeah. Talk about a lesson learned. Thank you. Yes, backing up in more than one location. Yes. So I added the Drobo because we talked about it so much in the show, and I have it's a 4-bay Drobo, and my in-laws on Sunday decided to come over and at that moment take their Christmas pictures on Sunday, which is always my favorite when people wait to the last minute. Because when they do it, I'm not just taking their picture, I'm also, of course, doing the editing and then also getting their Christmas cards and ordering them for them and doing the whole shebang. So I'm already stressed out because it's a busy time of the month, and then they come and we do these pictures and it's my kids that I have to get to smile, and photographing your own children is always a pleasure. And so we get these pictures and I come into my computer and I start to download them, and one of my drives just goes kaput on me, and I'm just like about to break in two. I was like, that's as much as I can handle. And so my husband comes in and he sees the tears streaming down my face, and he's like, what happened? I'm like, I just need my phone. Please, can you get me my phone? And he brings me the phone, and the first person I call is Mike Howard. I'm like, okay, I know we planned for a rainy day, but now I don't know what
pouring.
to do. Yeah. So he talked me down from the ledge, and we ordered 2 new external hard drives right away on Amazon, of course, using the link for the JPEG Garage Show.
Thank you.
And so we got 2, so that way I can have, what did you call it?
I
A
call
hot
it
drive?
It's not really a hot spare, but it's like a hot spare. It's a spare. It's ready to go.
Yes. So I have a spare sitting, in my next to my Drobo, ready to go, and I got a new one, and they arrived today, and I popped it in, and I haven't had any issues. So thank goodness I had that Drobo, because before I just had a dock that held my external hard drives, and if it goes, it goes, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
So
okay, what was the hard drive that failed, if you don't mind me asking? So I cannot buy it.
What kind of brand? It was a Seagate Barracuda.
Oh no! Wait, it was a Seagate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like Seagate.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they all can
Yes.
do it.
It
it
can
doesn't
always,
matter.
yeah, it can always happen. I know.
So-
They all can do it. I don't think it's necessarily the brand. I think it's just
Not
a matter of
if, a
time.
matter of when.
Yeah, it's a matter of time.
How long do you think? See, I know people that will trade them out every 2 years. How long do you think it was that you had that particular drive?
I don't know. Maybe let's see. Did I do the Drobo when I was pregnant? Maybe. So it's probably been within a year. Because I probably bought.
Really?
Yeah.
So-
I saw someone say they lose one every 6 months, and I don't think I do it that often.
Well, I told you, Kathleen, I have 50 plus hard drives in my house between all the computers and everything.
Yeah.
And I lose at least 1 or 2 a year throughout there. And
Yeah.
Cess, I have Western Digital, Samsung, Hitachi, Seagate. They all will fail. It's just a matter of time. And
no.
if there's one thing we've preached over the 100 shows more than anything else,
Back
and
up,
this
back
is
up,
so
back up.
important for everybody, but especially so for photographers, is backup. And you should have your original, your local backup, which was Kathleen's Drobo, and then an off-site backup. And depending on where you live and your bandwidth and all that kind of stuff, some of these things may not be possible in off-site if you have capped bandwidth. Some of our listeners are in Canada or maybe even the United States where they have a cap or a very low bandwidth and they can't do that. So you have to figure out something else. But if you don't have that, an automated off-site backup, something like CrashPlan is what I use. There's Carbonite, there's Mozy, there's Backblaze, there's a lot of them. I use Carbonite. I use CrashPlan, and I think you do too, Kathleen.
I do.
Because even though a Drobo or a RAID, like a RAID 5 or something like that, they protect you from a single drive or in some cases a double drive failure. But if you don't act fast, that's why Kathleen got a spare. If another drive goes out, you could actually lose everything in that backup. Now, if you're doing it right, you have the original, a local backup. So if the local backup dies, it's just your backup. You still got the original, and you can just rebuild the backup. But, don't think of a Drobo or a RAID system as the backup. It should be like
Right.
a second copy, or if it's the first copy, there should be something else somewhere else. And that way, it's just protecting you from a single drive failure. You got a second hard drive, Kathleen, so if another one goes out, you'll just have one ready to put in there right away. You won't have to worry about it. Because the danger is if you lost another one while you're waiting for the one to come back, you could have actually lost some stuff.
Right. That's what I was
Now-
freaking out about.
Yeah. Now, Jeannie in the group said something about burning to a CD. I don't like the CD option, but could you say something about the CDs?
Me?
Because a lot of people do that.
I don't like the CD or DVD option at all because my experience with it, and you can test this for yourself, my experience with it is after a amount of time, 3-4 years, the images, the thing that's recorded on starts to degrade. So a good test is take some of your stuff out that's maybe like 5 years old, put it in your CD drive, and try and copy it to your computer. If you can't copy 100% of those photos, that means it's already starting to degrade. And once it starts to degrade, you've lost those things.
Right, you're losing pixels in there, and the pictures are degraded.
Yeah, now
If you can even get.
you may say, well, I bought Batman or I bought whatever 10 years ago and it still works. The quality of what they write on is different from the quality that you buy at Micro Center or something like that. 'Cause-
Well, those discs are actually pressed, which is a lot
Yeah.
different than being burned into it by
Yeah.
us.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit
Replicate
different.
instead of duplicate. Well, I'm sorry. go ahead.
I would not use it as my only backup.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But that saved her, and I think you bought Western Digital Reds.
I did this time.
Those are very good drives to have in a RAID type system.
Right, they're NAS drives.
Yeah, they're made for being in that kind of system. They have a little bit more tolerance for heat and for the conditions that would be in something like that enclosure. So hopefully, but they can still fail too. There's not all
Right.
this is mechanical, and it will eventually fail at some point.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Most people don't realize. I'm sorry, chat.
Talking about the CDs.
yeah,
they're talking about CDs.
to my side. So are they agreeing with me? Yeah.
Yes, CDs have a shelf life.
There you go.
Go
The
Mac.
chat's always over to my right, so I don't get to see it that often anymore. So any questions for Kathleen? Because we're already at the hour. Or for Sess. Any questions for Kathleen or Sess? Or anything either one of you guys want to cover before we end?
Don't get brain surgery. It's I'm just saying.
I don't want to
get
be
some-
number 3.
Don't get something.
Avoid it if you can.
Don't get something requiring brain surgery.
Yeah.
And Kathleen, I'll send you some dates, and you can pick which one you want to, which one works for you.
Awesome.
In our season coming up, and we'll have you back on. I don't know if do you want me to say what the topic will be, or that's a surprise?
Let's do it.
Oh,
Go for it.
With everything we just talked about, one of the things that she has to really manage is time management. Having 3 children and getting all these clients and doing the photo shoot, the editing, all that stuff. You're going to talk about how to manage your time and get it all done.
Right. We're going to throw out some tips there that will help. I mean, I've been at this for 15 years, and so I've certainly done a long journey of failing at it first and then figuring it out second.
Yep.
And so I'd love to throw out some stuff out there that has made my life easier and helped our family life, both on a business side and on a personal side. So it should be a good show. And it kind of came about because right after having Winslow, I got a few emails right in a row from aspiring photographers asking, how do you manage family and business at the same time? And of course, because it's really hard, I've never gotten back to them about it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what a better opportunity than just to invite them to come on the show and allow more people to benefit from some of the mistakes that I've made along the way, and also benefit from some of the things that have worked for me along the way. So that'll be really good.
Really good. And hopefully we can get you back in 2014 to do like an editing show. Walk us through some editing.
I would love it.
That would be
And then
awesome.
2 things that are new for me is that I sold my 50 millimeter lens and bought a 35 millimeter, which is...
Oh, you talked about previously that. I think we talked
rocking
about
my
that
socks
one.
off.
Yeah.
And then also my new favorite lens is my 135, which the first time I was on the show, I didn't even think that something like that would have existed ever on my camera. And I just love it for my outdoor shots. So
135 f2 f what?
I think it's a 1.4.
1.4. Wow.
Let me see.
Oh.
Well, it might be a 2.0.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me
it
look.
up. While you're doing that, Cess.
Oh, yeah, I did actually have something. I wanted to mention that just because we have a Google Plus community.
Oh,
For
very
all those
good.
folks
Yes.
that love Google Plus like I do, like I'm a huge fan. I actually spend more time on that than Facebook these days. But yeah, we have a Google Plus community, and in the last about 4 days, I think we got like 40 new folks. So that was pretty cool.
When I checked before we came into the show, we were up to 99. You know,
Cool.
it's a smaller group than a Facebook group, but there are certain people who don't want to ever leave Facebook. You know, I can't get anybody to join me in the JPEG to Run forums. I'm all by myself. But, you know, a lot of people like to just stay in Facebook and never leave it. Some people like to stay in Google Plus and never leave it. So we got the two communities growing. Seth is a moderator over there in our Google Plus community, and we're trying to grow that one too for people who like to stay over in a Google Plus community. It's a great place. It really displays photos better than Facebook.
One thing I really like about Google Plus is that it's got that EXIF data there. So you know how in the Facebook group we're always like, you know, hey, you know, where did you shoot? What did you shoot this at? What was your shutter speed? I mean, it's cool to know some of that stuff. Well,
Yeah,
Google
it's really
Plus,
cool.
it's just there unless you turn it off or delete it or whatever. And I think that is so cool. It's really neat. So plus also if you put something out there and yeah, I mean some people like to do it, but if you put something out there and you don't like something about it, you can kind of tweak the original, and it'll show up everywhere else that you posted it.
Yeah.
That will never happen on Facebook.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
that's pretty cool.
It's an F2.
It's an F2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say 135 f1.4. That's awesome. But F2, that's incredible also.
I love it. I love it.
So Kathleen, where can people see your, keep track of you, watch your recent work? I know you're over on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook, and then my website is just KathleenBowiePhotography.com. I will get my Facebook link and post it in the comments there. And those are the two places. I don't do anything else, and I probably should, but
Yeah, so Facebook, I got it pulled up now, is, facebook.com/Kathleen Bowie Photography. Really easy to find there. And then your website is KathleenBowiePhotography.com. And we'll have those in the show notes for people to find them. And a lot of the photos that we looked at tonight, you see them streaming on your page here too. The video is on that page. I can't pull it up or else it will YouTube will ban me right in the middle of the show.
it's on the About Me section.
Yeah, it's under the artist.
Yes.
So I click on artist and then go there, and it's a nice little video. You got to go and watch it. I love photographers who have the videos, talking, introducing themselves. It gives you a different connection to them.
Well, and I feel like, being someone's photographer is such a personal decision as well. I mean, most of my clients become really good friends of mine. And so I feel like it's nice to kind of put something out there to put a face to a name so that it puts them at ease. When they show up, they already feel like they know you a little bit,
Absolutely.
which I think is really nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Cess, do you have a website I can pull up? You want me to pull anything up?
Yeah, I have design.me spelled with an X, DEXINE.me. That is our business front. And then I have a blog. Kathleen also has an awesome blog, and I share DEXINE.me. Yeah. And Kathleen also has a blog. I shared one of your posts lately about selective color. That was a nice post.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's funny because I thought, we had never seen it for the longest time. And then I felt like that image called for it. But then it was such a no-no that it was kind of like, I need to think about this. Like, why is it a no-no? Well, like, what's it for? And so that's kind of what I came up with, and it makes sense to me. And I've gotten a really good response out of it. So thanks for sharing that again.
Yeah, no problem. I'm while I was hospital bound, I was doing a couple things, and I kind of restarted my blog, and it's at sesswhite.com, but it's not anything awesome right now. I only have a few posts. But no, you have some great stuff on there, and I'm always interested in some great things that you say. We share a lot of thoughts and stuff, so it's really great to see your stuff.
Awesome.
Andy out there in chat has a great question. I know there's a plug-in for Lightroom for Facebook where you can go straight from Facebook to Lightroom. You can post it while you're in Lightroom, post it to Facebook. Do you know, Sess, if there's anything like that for Google Plus?
I actually don't know yet, because I've gotten away from using those plugins, because there's certain things that I like to do beforehand and then just kind of manually put them in. So I started using the plugins, and then there were some things that I felt like I was kind of missing, so I just got away from that. But that's a really good question, and I'll definitely research that.
And, I think right now both my both my Facebook and my SmugMug plugins are broken.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never used the Facebook one. Does it allow you to watermark your images before you put them up?
Yeah, I think so.
It does. Yeah.
Oh, well, that doesn't matter for me anyways, because I watermark in Photoshop. So I need to figure that out.
Not only would it do that, in Facebook, it actually even tracks the comments that were on the things that you posted.
Stop it right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Put it on my to-do list.
But that's another thing that can it's another communication thing, so that can kind of slow down your Lightroom. That was part of the reason that I didn't.
Yeah.
That I didn't.
So I mean, I gotcha. Okay.
It's kind of a catch. It's a very cool feature, but I can track that.
You didn't want it to slow anything down. Yeah, that's true.
And since mine's broken, I just post directly to it now.
But yeah, design.me. That's our site.
All right, very good. And I had the site pulled up, the group over there on Google Plus pulled up here.
Yay!
So now we're up to 101 now in the group. So it's grown since we started the show. So we think,
what's cool about the Google group is that it's mostly folks that are not in the Facebook group at all. So it's completely new people. It's kind of cool.
It is, yeah, completely different.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Kathleen, you got to get back. You got to get back on there.
I like that.
I saw you. I added you. Well,
I actually.
Go ahead. Oh,
I think she broke up.
Yes, I just when I logged in today to do the. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
When I logged in today to do the chat. Okay, good. I went ahead and accepted it today when I just don't go to Google Plus that often, but since I was there to do the Hangout, I went ahead and accepted it. But I like what you were saying about how it captures all of your image information and puts it out there. I think that's really important because, that's part of the process. Like one of the things how I said that, I was always shooting so wide open, like one of the things that I'm trying to like teach myself, it's like, it, but to train yourself to do your settings on the fly differently is a growth process. And so whenever I'm photographing babies, like now if I get an image back and one eye is soft and the other eye is sharp, it drives me bonkers. And so like it'd be really cool to be able to look at people's settings and say, she got them both in focus because she was using an f4, or one of them soft because she was at an f1.4. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, very good, Kathleen. Sess, thank you for joining us tonight. It was great to see you, Sess, that you're healthy and coming, still recovering, but doing well. And Kathleen, always. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I said trying. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, doing much better than the day you texted me and said when you're in the hospital. So that's fantastic news. Kathleen, always wonderful to see you. Thank you for coming back, and look forward to talking to you next year when you come on the show as a guest.
Yes, I'm excited about it too.
And thank you so much, Kathleen, for the all the shows you were co-host and helping out Tim and I, and who knows, someday maybe you'll come back and be co-host again.
I'd love to. I hope it works out that way.
There's the opportunity.
Yeah, because. Maybe when we have a great guest that you just can't resist, you'll come on and help us out, and then I'll have you trapped.
That's right.
Because we plan to keep going. We may do a couple of other shows in addition to this one, but we plan on keeping going this one. And speaking of you helping out and Sess helping out on that, there's somebody who's been with me since show number 4. and then I tricked him into being a co-host, and that is Tim. Tim has been the longest running of any of us other than me. I mean, he's been here for 96 shows.
Yeah,
So-
that's amazing.
Tim, thank you so
Can't
much
believe
for everything you do. You know, a lot of times people wonder, why doesn't Tim talk more? One is either because I talk too much, or when Kathleen was on, she talked too much, or our guest talks a lot, which we want the guest to talk. But also because he's doing the show notes as we're talking, and he's putting everything in the show notes, all those links we talk about, and interacting with chat and putting the information in there. So
I just remember in the early shows, all we heard was click, 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 click.
I've learned to
What do you mean? I heard it last week. What are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding.
if you go back and listen to that, you'll hear me every once in a while. I'll say, "Tim, mute,"
Tim, you're typing.
or "Watch your breathing."
Yes.
So you know,
I actually went back and listened to some older shows on Stitcher. Hey Tim, watch your breathing in there, and he's like,
well, you don't hear it
Now
as
I'm going to
much
be
yourself.
self-conscious. Thanks.
You don't hear it as much yourself. I mean, when you have one of the things like Kathleen has, and I haven't heard your breathing tonight at all, Kathleen. But when you
Okay.
have it, if you have it placed wrong, it'll pick up all your breathing, and
Everything.
you don't realize it.
Well, that
Right.
was, I think that was before I got the other mic. When I had the headset, that's when I used to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I think since then, we've upgraded our gear. We've gotten a little better at everything. And Tim, thank you for being here all this this time for 96 shows. And hopefully you'll stick around. We'll do another 100 together, and then we'll be doing another show number 200.
Well,
oh,
we
it's
have to
getting
thank you too.
romantic.
What's that?
Mike Howard, we have to all thank you first because you're the creator of the show, and all of this craziness was your idea to begin with. So
Absolutely.
it's been a huge commitment for you, just time-wise and financially, and so we all say thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kathleen. Thank you,
Yay.
Seth. It's been a lot of fun for me. I've met a lot of amazing people, and that's what wants me to keep going. When I do a show, there is a lot of work getting up to it, and sometimes I wonder, is it all worth it? Because obviously this is not a profit thing. But then I do a show like this, and I have great guests on, and I can't wait for the next one. So yeah, I have no plans to stop doing it. We're going to keep going, and
Cool.
we're going to, if you think 100 shows, you've had to have covered everything. Heck no, we've only done one boudoir show. We got 99
Right.
more to go.
Wow.
No, now, Mike, now you know I'm staying.
No, but
Yeah,
the point there is that how many, if there's any one subject we've covered more than anything else, it's wedding photography.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think that if you stacked all the wedding shows up together, they're not all the same because everybody has their own style. You have Scott Green, who's a wedding photographer. You have Melissa and Jared. You have Ben and shoot, I should look. these names.
Youngrens.
Yeah, no crap. Ben and
Who are you
Les.
thinking about?
Ben and
Oh,
Les.
Ben and Les. Mhm.
Yeah, we have Ben and Les. We have Ryan Brennheiser. We have all these different people who have a lot of different styles. Melissa and Jared. I don't know if I said their name twice now, but a lot of different styles. So that's just one thing. And there's still subjects we haven't covered. We haven't covered infrared. We've only covered boudoir and macro once. We haven't really covered sports the way I'm wanting to cover it. And there's a bunch of different ways you can cover sports. So there's still a lot of topics that we have to go over.
We've had haven't we had other newborn? I can't remember
We
if
have.
we've had another.
We've had several newborn. We had Morgan Curvin on. We've had.
Oh, that's right.
Early on, I think we had the newborns. We haven't had anybody recently.
I think
Uh-oh.
I think it's like right here, right now.
If there's no other reason, then that's the reason I need to come back to get some other newborn photographers on here.
Absolutely.
Cool
So
beans.
this thing is freaking me out. Only one of us is making it out of this room.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm losing track of what I'm saying.
Show
Yeah, so-
100. Go JPEG to RAW.
Let's go ahead and end
Yes.
this while before I lose total track. But we have a lot of subjects to go over and keep track. Go to our webpage. There's a link there that says calendar, and as soon as I book somebody, as soon as I book Kathleen with an official date, I will put it there, and I'll probably post about it on our Facebook page too. But you can see who's coming up and what's going on. We do have a planned 2-week break coming at the end of December. I use that time to do some upgrading of the gear and do some other things like that and get caught up on anything that I'm behind. So we will be taking that break. But we'll do a show next week, and then we'll have a 2-week break.
Right, and also the Tuesdays are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, so
Correct.
probably wouldn't have had anybody.
No, and
Right.
yeah, that wouldn't have been good at all. Okay. All right. So until next week, keep it raw. Good night,
Good night, everybody.
Night.
All right,
Bye.
we can